Hey guys, D.Bowie here, and this is how Sonneiko and Misery fight with Lion. This footage starts pretty well. Void approaches the lane while Pudge hides himself. This is real teamwork. As Void gets closer, check how he clicks to the right side, and now he can right click Void without drawing aggro. As he stuns, he already runs towards the path that Void wants to run away, while at the same time further away from the creeps to keep attacking. Since Naga also didn't learn her skill point, when Pudge goes in to use Rot, even after Void uses Time Walk, she can secure the kill with the net.
First blood finds me. My pride.
While Misery waits the courier with a smoke, he tries to time the rotation with a stack, but gets a little bit too late. Even though he missed it, trying to connect objectives with stuff like rune stacks or TPs mid to fill bottle are always important. They smoke, and there are two very important things to note here. Misery's camera and the way he goes way around invoker. Yes, it's nighttime, but if Dire has an observer ward there, it could completely blow the gank. When Juggernaut goes in, there is really not much difference, and by having boots and Windlace, and also stunning in the direction invoker is going instead of clicking him, they secure the kill easily. He notices a conflict in the top lane, and check how he tries to time that rotation with a rune check. Unfortunately, there was nothing there as well. Misery plays this really well. Not only he knows he doesn't need to stun right away as Slithering Crush ends because of the move speed slow it applies, but he also waits Slark to go in to stun. It might seem like he clicked on Kunkka to stun, but in reality he clicked just on the edge, allowing him to stun Slark as well. They don't get the kill, but I felt like pointing this clip out. Abusing timing windows is a constant theme of my videos. Here we see Misery going in and randomly throwing a stun on Void, which, considering that he doesn't have mana drain and is low on mana, is quite useless, right? Since Void can time walk the damage. But Faceless Void is level 5, and maybe if he went a greedier build, he doesn't have time walk level 3. So then the cooldown on Earth Spike is lower than the escape. Since he had clarity up, he hides himself, and well, it really didn't matter that much because he was able to use Hex instantly and they kill Void before he's able to do anything. But if Void actually survived that, and he didn't had Time Walk level 3, they would get the kill only because of what Misery did before. Misery TPs in aggressively to kill Invoker with Juggernaut that has Omnislash. He times Hex and Earth Spike pretty well, but Juggernaut can't commit the ult because Invoker summoned one Lava Baby. When Jugger gets X'd, watch Misery's clicking patterns. He right clicks Kunkka and stays in, but far enough to not get caught in the torrent range. The fight evolves to the rune spot. Misery casts a beautiful long-range Earth Spike without clicking Kunkka, allowing not only to get the bounty rune, but also to kill the Pirate Man. Naga is the MVP of this fight. Misery gets X-marked, and since Naga knew Void was going to commit Chrono, she gets further away and ults, wasting the Chronosphere. Not only that, by waiting the full duration, Misery gets another cooldown on Earth Spike, but see how Naga also blocks Kunkka's escape? It was pretty beautiful, and then Pudge comes in to secure the kill. Slark ganks Naga and Misery goes in to help, but a little bit too late since he had TP on cooldown. One thing to note before I continue is how much time it passes since Slark started on Naga, so the cooldown on Shadow Blade is probably close. When Slark goes in with Shadow Dance, he had the chance to wait for it to end and use Finger of Death or stun him after Dark Pact was over. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough damage and he gets invisible, so actually waiting to cast Finger wouldn't work regardless. After that, we can see a lot of resilience from him. Slark can regen deceiving amounts of HP while he's invisible, and he could easily go behind Misery and kill him, and then maybe pounce in the trees and TP. So even without Misery going, Radiant secures the kill, and he doesn't feed Slark. Dire was forcing their way into their tier 2 mid and Slardar goes in on invoker. It's a pretty hard fight to engage, so instead of just showing up, throwing one earth spike and dying, he hides himself in the trees waiting for a good initiation. I'm not sure if he actually predicted that time walk, but that was almost a 3-man earth spike since he did not click on anyone. It also allowed him to burst Void very fast and the fight keeps evolving. One thing to note here is Misery's position as they go on Disruptor. He's hidden and doesn't even bother going up the stairs, not only because Disruptor is close to dying, but more importantly because Slark is missing, so he definitely doesn't want to become a casualty for no reason. This is a pretty bold move by Misery. He just finished his Blink Dagger and Invoker is farming aggressively close to their base. His decision making is top tier. First he TPs in the base instead of outside to make the gank untraceable. You can argue that his stacked disables, but there are times when you're more worried about the counter initiation arriving than the stack of the stuns. This is definitely the case, especially because those spirits hurt a lot, so he doesn't want to make this peek off too long. Again, we see him disengaging before the kill is about to happen. Getting the experience and the gold bonus is important, but feeding Invoker or Slark is not ideal, and he survives while Radiant gets the kill. Usually, if you're starting a solo hero, casting Hex first can be a good idea, because when the follow-up comes, you can try to hit both the Hexed hero and the next one that came to save it. But since Void can heal back all the damage, it's just easier to cast Earth Spike not only because it has bigger duration, but because he can miss the Earth Spike later. Just a few seconds later, a fight breaks out in the mid lane. He jumps in to save his teammate, and pay attention to where he blinked. Some players have the tendency of blinking right where their targets are, and they can end up mixed up in the fight when they didn't need it to. In this case, he could also blink on Static Storm, being unable to cast spells. Anyway, he gets a relative good distance from Slark, but notices Naga using Song and cancels Earth Spike. To be honest, I don't like him casting Earth Spike like he did here. I know he wanted to get both Slark and Disruptor in the same stun, but Slark would Dark Pact it anyway. They get the kill regardless, but maybe with instant cast on Hex, they could kill Slark later with Earth Spike without wasting Finger of Death, allowing him to use it on level 11 with more damage and way less cooldown. I'm not flaming Misery, it's easy for me to point out this stuff after it happened, but you can use it to improve your play. They are pushing the bottom tier 2 tower, and this is a very good position for a Lion to be during this type of push. Not only because it's closer to anyone that comes to disrupt the push, but if Slark goes on him, it's way harder for him to disengage later. While if Lion was very far back, his team would have a hard time noticing it and following up. Void has kinda the same idea, he actually time walks in to get a good chrono, but Misery plays this pretty fast. Hex is definitely the best skill to use here because of the instant cast point and they get Void before he casts Chrono. Remember what I said about being in the backlines? As tanky and farmed as Naga is, she almost dies to the BKB Slark. Note that as Misery follows up, he never spent his Blink Dagger, because if Slark turned on him, he's able to blink before he pounces. Luckily, Earth Spike gets ready during the downtime of Dark Pact and after BKB is over, but even with Finger of Death, Slark survives. Check Misery's position during all of this. Even with Slark very low on HP, he doesn't want to be the center of attention. By staying pretty low key, not only they secure the kill on Disruptor, but on Invoker as well, since he didn't notice Lion hiding there and he goes on Invoker. And he goes on Juggernaut. Crispy support play. This clip is all about the little things. He wraps around and since Void already started on Magnus, he goes towards the river. He waits the chrono to end before casting Earth Spike, but not too long to allow Magnus to RP. It's not uncommon for people going for solo pickoffs to start with Hex because of the lower cast point, but when a target is stuck on chrono, Earth Spike can be 100% reliable, so it's just better to use it in my opinion, allowing him to save hacks for the end if needed. Something a lot of medium tier players do is TPing into a lane right after going to base when they are playing supports. While that can feel like completely natural for you, especially when playing against aggressive lineups, it can be better to walk to a lane while carrying your TP. In mid-tier games, people don't really think about who TP to whatever lane before going for a gank. But if you think about it, you can always help your team with another presence in that lane, and since Lion was walking mid, he TPs, saves Visage and kills Slardar. Radiant smokes and thinks that Dire is Roshan. They confirm it with the scan and check Sonneiko's decision making here. They leave Void alone and he positions way further back to be able to counter initiate. Since Slardar was under sprint, he uses Finger of Death instantly, but apparently it ended as soon as he threw it. But anyways, no reason to spend Earth Spike after Invoker committed Sunstrike and he retreats again. By committing Hex instead of Earth Spike, Juggernaut can't spin, but Shadow Demon plays it pretty well and allows him to disengage. A common mistake of Lions that don't know you can throw Earth Spike in the direction you want with greater range is dying while trying to defend high ground. See how far he can be while stunning Jugger? When Faceless Void goes in, pay attention to his clicking patterns. He wants to get into a good range for Earth Spike, but Slardar gets him with Visage. It doesn't really help though, since Invoker landed a beautiful Meteor. Check how he doesn't commit any spells on Slardar since he's already dead and tries to go on Magnus. He blinks just in time though. He quickly earns Invoker while at the same time uses Finger of Death on Magnus. Of course, it's obvious that saving a skill for the next target is better than dealing more damage to someone that was dead anyways, but people oftentimes erase from their own memories how they purposely used the Finger of Death in someone that was dying for sure because they wanted their item faster, or times when they tried to save the skill for the next target but they miscalculated and both enemies run away or even kill your team because of it. It may seem trivial, but only with a good understanding of the game you can reliably do this throughout your games. Sonneiko is far away from his blink, but he's not thinking about it, at least not enough to waste resources on a dying hero, and because of that his whole team actually benefits from them also killing the Magnus. Well, this wraps up for today. If you enjoyed this video, please guys give it a thumbs up, it helps a lot. If you want to see more of Sonneiko's replay breakdowns, please check the link in the description, and I can't overstate how this video wouldn't ever be possible without the huge help from the Pugna guys, so please show them some love. And if you're new to my channel, please subscribe to it. I'm making videos like this almost every day and I'm sure something here will spark your interest. So when Elk gets closer, he time walks and pay attention to how he tries to right click once before chronoing. If that was a bash, you can even try to give a little bit more hits before popping the chrono, so even if he gets a little bit of distance from you, you can still reach him very fast with the chronosphere. They would have gotten the kill anyways, but 3 bashes in a row really help, even if it doesn't do the extra damage on chronosphere anymore. Another pretty standard